This presentation explores the relationship between motivation levels of Filipino domestic helpers, or FDHs from now on, in Hong Kong to attend training courses and the enrollment rate in which such training courses are able to continue operations. The management problem involved here is in handling Filipino learners' motivation and the level of their desire to study. Much is known about Filipino migrants in Hong Kong as workers. However, little is known about Filipino domestic helpers as learners. Hong Kong is a city populated with migrant workers all over Asia. The largest population of Asian migrant workers in Hong Kong are Filipinos, mostly women. Emigration is a commonplace in Filipino society, as Martin et al. Claim. Quote, migrants are a permanent fixture of Filipino socio-economic life, unquote. Hong Kong is a top choice because of, quote, relatively extensive laws, unquote, Martin and Abelia. Quote, immigration laws permit these women to undertake domestic work, provided that they have a full-time employer who is willing to sponsor them by signing a 2-year contract. An unknown number of women find employers to sign full-time contracts and then undertake part-time domestic work outside their employers' homes, for which they receive higher salaries and greater work autonomy. Groves and Chang, 1999, unquote. In the year 2000 alone, some 144,000 Filipino women were deployed to service middle to high income families as domestic helpers. Martin and Abelia, 2004. Unquote. One reason for migration has to do with parental funding of their children's university education. Martin and Abelia again. Unlike their counterparts in the West, in which children are expected to work for their university fees. In this clip, you will find the general pattern and profile of Filipino domestic helpers in Hong Kong. They are women, usually married with children. Their education ranges from high school or some college. They speak more than one language, usually English, Tagalog, the national language of the Philippines, and their native dialect. Their origins are mostly rural areas and provinces, and they come from the class background of the rural poor. Lower income Filipino citizens are usually sought after in different countries for domestic services because of their following inclinations. They are able to negotiate their idea of family, they perform surrogate functions, and they understand American or Western corporate practices. Learning in the adult underclass workplace at learning centers in Hong Kong. While these are viable social spaces for Filipinos, motivation levels are low. Many of the students require confidence and don't really know what they're doing there. Hong Kong to them is a stopover working destination in the hope that they will be able to migrate to the United States or to Canada. For those who wish to study, weekends are the only days in which they are able to do so full time. These women, usually women, have dreams for their own children and hope that their own children won't have to take any recourse to become domestic helpers themselves, which is precisely why they would like to migrate to first world countries. However, this is difficult because the actual learning does not take place if their attitudes towards learning are all riddled with a lack of confidence. Motivation is defined as, quote, getting the best out of people, unquote, by Everard and Morris, 1990. A learning center in Hong Kong not only functions as an education service provider, but also has the added role of being the FDH's venue as a social space and a safe house. Many FDHs find the added value of community support and attraction at learning centers. Now, in order to make sure that the learning process actually takes place, motivation theory by McClelland needs to be integrated into the taught curriculum. A motivating system might include the following practices. that migration information dissemination be included, computer training with free internet access, art and drama therapy activities and humanities classes, a caregiving course practicum so that FDHs are exposed to actual caregiving work at elderly homes in Hong Kong, and keeping a jolly and festive atmosphere with lots of food, music, and jokes during breaks. The cultivation of self confidence in the hidden curriculum can also be enhanced. This is a quality which a lot of FDHs have very little of when they leave the Philippines, even less so while working in Hong Kong. The condition of FDHs in Hong Kong is connected to the overall management situation and leadership crisis of the Philippine government. Now, in order to manage a learning center for FDHs in Hong Kong using the Kolb and Voltaire hybrid transformational cycle, one must consider, number one, students' contexts and concerns. They come from very poor backgrounds. Number two, the classroom as an informal social space will be able to elicit more commentary and more reactions, more feedback from students. Group tasks are highly recommended because most FDHs are not confident at speaking in public. Task difficulties need to be managed by pacing discussion, and teachers must remember that they too are learners. Some adult learner comments include the following: expressions of exhaustion, overwork, and sometimes they just need to listen to people and to be told a few stories. One person actually said that she likes learning more about what she doesn't know and what she has missed at school. And ultimately, most learners in Hong Kong's learning centers for Filipinos are thankful or grateful for places such as these. So, how do you keep a learning center alive? First, a lot of frequent internal marketing needs to take place at these learning centers. Students need to be motivated to stay. Sometimes they lose hope, sometimes they lose interest. More social events like parties and opportunities to dress up and get together would be beneficial in order to increase their confidence at socializing and meeting new people. Collection of fees need not be outright and blatant. In Hong Kong, there's such a thing as auto pay, so most of their bank accounts can be on auto pay when it's time to pay tuition fees. An orientation procedure and manual would be helpful at making sure that the students finish their courses. And finally, the establishment of open days in which students can bring their friends who will be prospective students in the future would be helpful. That way, if in the next term the center loses a student, then perhaps the friend might remain. I would like to end this presentation with a quote from Marx. If an individual has his or her consciousness heightened and faculties engaged, and this is found to be pleasurable, then the benefits to the individual will most likely be benefits for the community at large. Any graduate in whatever walk of life who has found higher education to be a process of personal growth is far better able to be an effective member of the social world. When a country's own intellectual human capital becomes its primary export product, free individuals must take their destinies, even if means surrendering to servitude. This presentation